Welcome to Conspiracy in Real Time, the greatest show on earth. I am your THC medicated, 100% unregulated, like very unregulated host, Joshua Stonecutter. These are the topics that we're going to talk about. It's kind of all in one, but separate. We're going to talk about Lord of the Rings, the Holy Grail, and how I just want to talk. And I mean that totally, I'm 100% serious. Like, total 100% serial on that one. And that has to do with like some of these families, some of these women in Gainesville and Jacksonville. Let me be clear again, like what's going on. It looks like there are a number of women who I have dated who have had children of mine and not told me about them. Okay, and to make matters even more weird, even more strange, and even more like science fiction-y, I wasn't active with some of them when they became pregnant, which means somebody else had to have. I don't know. So they're either all my half brothers and sisters, or they're my children. But it looks like they're my children. It could be just as well that they're my half brothers and sisters, and they're using the same donor for all of us. That's just as likely. They have somebody like strung up in a dungeon somewhere, and they're just like milking him every day. Okay. All right. So, I mean, look, I have to, and this is part of the topics like of my show. I have to approach this stuff with love and with humor, because those are the gifts that have been given to me. And I am like, I feel like I'm the only person on the face of this planet that can like talk about this stuff and explain it in layman's terms and so in such a and so forth, so on and so forth. Because this is the deal, and this is what I'm going to say to some of these parents and stuff. You don't need to tell them anything. You don't need to say a word if you don't want to. Just let me talk to them. Let me tell you how some of this is going to go down. Some of this is going to go down with me like rolling up to somebody's house on like a Saturday morning or a Wednesday evening or a Sunday afternoon or whatever and saying, hey, guess what? I might be your biological father, or we may be very closely related. That's how it's going to go down. And it's so funny because the people who are involved with this crap, they'll literally, the first thing that they say when they hear me start talking like that is, you don't have the right to go. You don't have the right to go. And it's like, wait a second. If all these little people, or some of them are grown at this point, if they are in fact my children, or if they're my half brothers and half sisters, like, who cares, man? I'm not breaking any laws, you know? All right, so let's get into the topics. The Lord of the Rings. I'm going to go through this real quick because it's very easy to understand, all right? Muskie, I think I figured out who you are, by the way. We'll get back to you at the end of the show. All right, Lord of the Rings. Let me explain it to you, okay? The eye in the Lord of the Rings, right? The all-seeing eye in the Lord of the Rings is obviously a reference to the same eye from the Egyptians, the same eye that the builders are using, you know, the Freemasons are using. It's the eye of Ra or whatever. So the camera for your phone is the eye. And think about how we are directly / indirectly worshiping it collectively. And I don't know if you remember what I said on my last show about the word obsession and possession and how they're the same thing. This is the thing. I'm not sitting here saying you're all under possession, you're all under demonic possession. That's not what I'm saying. That is what they believe. That is what they think. Do you see? Like, that's their lingo. All right. So the eye is the lens in your camera. Okay. And check this out. This is all connected to witchcraft, right? Because as it turns out, witchcraft is just technology. I just found this out recently. I mean, I kind of knew it for a while, but like being raised by a programmer, right, and a computer programmer, I was just raised around computers. Like the idea, and it was like just the idea of it being called that just seems ridiculous, and it still seems kind of funny to me. But that's what they call it. Just to be clear, that's what they call it. And when you take your camera like this and you point it at somebody like this, it makes them do weird things and act strangely. Like, you guys don't understand like how much of a tool and a weapon you are walking around with in your hand. Okay? The one thing that these people hate and are absolutely fearful of is being exposed. Like that one guy that I got on TikTok that has like 1.2 million views or whatever in Gainesville, when I caught him doing this with his camera at me and stuff. You know, like that is what they don't want. So if anything like this is going on with you, your best defense is hitting record and doing this number. And just wait. You don't have to do or say anything. You just sit there and just hold it like that. And it makes virtually everybody in America like act very strangely. They call it like witchcraft or possession or whatever, you know? But anyways, it's the eye. Now this is the creepy thing. Okay, this is real talk. There is something or someone watching through all these things. It's all being fed somewhere. To the point, they say, oh, it's advertising this, advertising that. No. The eye, the lens of your camera, okay, when you fire up your phone, let me tell you this. When you're turning on your phone for the first time, you just bought your phone, you're turning it on, you're messing around with it, right? Guess what it's doing? And I'm not exaggerating. It is running the facial recognition scan on you. It's communicating with the Department of Homeland Security and the NSA, blah blah blah, all that stuff. It's running a facial recognition on you when you're firing up the phone and turning it on for the first time. So by the time you've actually like thought about downloading an app that would block that or getting something that will block your camera, it's too late. I digress. My point is this, is that I believe that there is some kind of entity, some kind of evil entity getting the final dump of all this stuff from the cameras. And if you have it all at your fingertips, you can pretty much spy in real time using video surveillance between people's cell phones and security cameras and stuff like that. It's crazy, man. And so in addition to that, you have people out there who are actively doing, like putting their camera in their pocket and walking around, and they are streaming it somewhere, and it gets real creepy. Okay, enough of the eye, but that's the eye. It's the eye of your camera. It's the same thing. The ring of power, right? The ring in Lord of the Rings is, I believe, representative of the Holy Grail. Okay, I think that is what, because look, it gives you a natural long life, blah blah blah. The other thing about Lord of the Rings that I want to mention is how multiple armies, multiple nations, all amassed together under the eye of Sauron. Just like you see all these different cults, they look like they're all different. They look like they're all different religions and all these different choices. Like you can go with the mystics and the psychics kind of thing, right? Or you can go with the Christians and the church, or you can go with any other religion, but it's all the same thing. It's like, oh yeah, look, you have 20 different doors to choose from. Look at all your choices, and but really, it's just one choice. That's really all you're given. You know what I mean? And the choice is evil, right? But and we're tricked. Anyways, all right. So I want to get off that. The thing about the Holy Grail is this. It looks like the J-Man was effing. He was active. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how else to put it. And So it's very obvious if you look at all the signs and stuff. The Holy Grail, it's not some kind of cup or chalice or whatever. Like, you'd have to be really daft to think that it's blood. The Holy Grail is blood. And as it turns out, it looks like I may have some of that blood pumping through my veins. That would explain everything. And it really does explain everything. And, this is something that I keep asking people who are involved with this stuff, just kind of goading them, and they won't say it. And I'll say, whose blood would some evil satanic cult want to like covet and hide and use and like keep from everybody but use for themselves? Which famous religious person who had spoken about blood? Which one would it be? Would it be Genghis Khan? I go through, and it's so funny. There's only been one person who said the name immediately. And the funny thing is that they all think it. And that's why I say to them, I say, you're thinking it. That's why I tell all of them. I say, you're thinking the name. You're thinking it. And that's good enough for me. That's why I tell them. But yeah, like okay. That is the deal. That's what's going on. There are people it looks as though it's possible, very possible. See, I don't want to get my videos taken down for defamation, blah, 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 right? But it looks like people of my church, people from my church, people from my family, people from the University of Florida, people from my community, Alachua County, Gainesville, Florida, have been participating in this weird, messed up, covert, like, I don't really know what to call it. Maybe like at one point I was calling it a breeding program. I'll never get disclosure. I'll never know totally what it is, but what it looks like is them specifically using bloodlines and DNA. So I don't know if them using a bunch of mine and a bunch of my fluids is like a cruel joke on them, because like, look at what's happening now, and mark my words, like, maybe there will come a time where they will be allowed to do something to me. There's probably thousands of people who would love to and can't wait to behead me or whatever, and that's fine. But for right now, today, it looks like they are not allowed to. The only thing they're allowed to do, and this is the best part for me, right? Because I've figured out many of their jigs are up. Not all their jigs. I don't want to sit here and say, oh, all their jig, oh, the jig is up. Some of their jigs are up. Okay, I'll just put it to you like that. For me and my life and what's going on with me, some of their jigs are up. Many of their jigs are up. And I just want to talk about this stuff. I tried broaching the subject with one of my family members, and they were speechless. Like, they were actually really speechless. Like, they couldn't believe that I figured it out. They just couldn't believe it. They couldn't. They what they said was, I don't know what to say. And I said, I bet you don't. I said, I bet you don't, because they never. I think that was like, in part because I always talk about everything's multi-purpose. It's not like everything just has one purpose or two. It seems like everything has like 4 purposes, right? But like, that is one of the reasons for all the degradation and targeting, and my whole family treating me like crap, and gaslighting me and misleading me, and like, my whole life, no matter what I do as a job or whatever I'm doing, my parents systematically tell me like, well, what you should really probably think about doing is blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. If I'm going to college, they'll tell me that I'm doing something wrong. And I used to think it was just their personalities or something like that. Oh, no. It's been actually systematic. They've been doing it on purpose my whole life. They raised me to believe that it's so difficult to explain, you guys. They raised me to believe that I was both very intelligent, because it's obvious that I am, but they homeschooled me to like make me stupid. That's just the best way I could put it. They could have taught me 2 or 3 languages. In fact, they were starting to teach me Hebrew. They were teaching me Hebrew when I was being homeschooled, and after like the first year or 2, we stopped. I didn't want to stop. They just stopped. They probably realized, oh wait, because this is the thing. Throughout my entire life, I've probably been inches away from the truth many, many times, and I have been redirected or misled or lied to or whatever by the people who I was going to for help. It is so messed up. So like if you are experiencing the like group stalking being targeted thing, this is the hardest part. This is the hardest part to understand and wrap your head around. It's your family. It's your family, it's your pastor, it's your friends, quote unquote. If you really are in the same position that I was in and am currently in, it is not good. Like, I sit here and put on a good face, you know what I'm saying? But like when I wasn't doing my show, when I discovered that it was my family, my own, what it looks to be, my mother and father, and etc., and it goes on and on. I mean, I spent weeks, months, just staring at the ocean, just sitting in my room, crying. Like I was barely able to go out and work. I mean, I worked as much as I needed to like feed myself and pay my rent and have some herb to smoke. Like there hasn't been like buying new shoes or like doing anything, no like I have this like treat yourself Tuesday thing. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling, but what I'm saying is this: many people will end it for themselves going through what I went through. Many people will do something crazy. That's what I was supposed to do. Am supposed to do. I am doing it. It's just not going to look like what anybody thinks it's going to look like. Even I can't tell you what it's going to look like. And I want to really, I should probably try to end with this. I always say that and then talk for like 10 minutes, I was thinking how like if one day I actually have like a fan base, like, and I get to do like, speak at like a conference or something, which I doubt will ever happen. But I was thinking about how it'd be funny to like start off by saying, I'm going to end with this, like to begin my speech or begin my talk by saying, I'm going to end with this. Cause I talk so much after I say that. I actually kind of forgot what I was going to say, but, I was talking about how they wanted me to do something. They wanted me to do something crazy. You know what I mean? Was that it? What was I going to try to end with? I wasn't going to try to end with that. It was just something that that came up, I'm reading some notes right now. Okay. But anyways, let's see here. Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. So let's just get back on topic. The last topic is how I just want to talk about this stuff. And that was kind of what I was talking about before. I think it's funny. For me personally, I think it's comical. Because like, all right, let's just say I'm wrong. All right? Like, okay, let's say I ride up to this ex's house. Okay? Yeah, somebody said use my power for good. That's very, very, oh, I remember what I was going to say. Thank you, Muskie. So, what I was going to say is, if I had, this is really important, if I had a plan, right, like over the last 3 years, if I had like a plan for doing this or, thought that I was going to try to do this or that, none of this would have worked out. I wouldn't have discovered this stuff. I wouldn't have discovered these weird ships that are traveling underneath the water, you guys, and they're flashing lights. I think it's from ionic propulsion. If I had to guess, based on everything that I've been reading, I've been researching this stuff, I've seen the lights myself, okay? And I've also seen some unidentified flying objects. Oddly enough, it was during the day that I saw them. Really weird. But anyways, this is how I figured this stuff out. By trusting in the good Lord and trusting in myself and like realizing that, you guys, it was so hard. Like I had to come to the conclusion that my own mother and father and family and pastor and friends were systematically trying to psychologically destroy me. And then I had to battle against cognitive dissonance because even though all the signs were there, I just didn't want to believe it until I had the actual proof, you know? And just the story about me getting these photographs from my mom's photo album and stuff, it's epic. Like, so much stuff has happened on a weekly basis. Not so much now the last month or two, right? The last month or so. But like, so much stuff has happened. It would be like things that would be an adventure of a lifetime for many people would happen to me 2 or 3 times a week. Like, just mind bending. And the funny thing is all of it's psychological. And that's something that's I've had to do many times and say many times when I am like freaking out, or excuse me, when I have been freaking out. Because I'm in like, I don't want to talk about the place that I'm in right now, but like, I think it should be self-evident that like, that I'm doing good. I feel good. I'm working. I started exercising. I don't want to say how often, but regularly. Often, you know what I mean? Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end the show because I worked all day today. And good day. So, anyways, I want to go back to what I was saying at the very beginning of the show because this is what I think about now, right? Before I was thinking about like, you guys, there are buildings that I found that people can't tell me like what actually goes on in the buildings, and there's like, I found retention ponds filled with blood and stuff, you guys, and with airstrips, with big airstrips next to them where an underground, not literally underground, but like a off the grid airstrip and stuff like that. Like, this is like, the stuff I've discovered is like next level insanity. And then in addition to that, I discovered all these holes underneath these churches and homes and these ships underneath the water. And in addition to that, I discovered that I have all these children and half brothers and half sisters. I have like an RC30 proximity sensor in my car that tells, I don't even know where I am up and down the coast of Florida. I don't know where else they have these sensors placed. I mean, look, this is just like this is just, and the greatest part about this is like, you don't believe me? Come on down to Florida. Bring a shovel, bring a camera. I'll show you all this stuff, man. It's not rocket science. They would like you to think that it is, but it is not. So I just want to talk, man. I just want to talk about this stuff. It's very obvious. There are some people I know who are like currently professors at the University of Florida whose only defense against me, I want to say this very clear ahead of time so I can point to these videos when it does happen. This is their defense. This is their defense. That man is crazy. I mean, that's it. It's total narcissistic abuse. Okay, so like, let's say that the issue is, do you have a hole underneath your house? Or do you have a hole or a cavern or tunnel or whatever underneath your church? They don't answer. It's a yes or no question. Yes, no. No. This is the response. I think there's something wrong with you. And what are you getting at with these questions? You know, they'll just say all sorts of bonkers stuff, man. I really did wonder why they were like insisting that I was going crazy and all this stuff. I was like, man, I didn't think it would be something this bad. I didn't think that I would stumble upon like 10 missing children and like a pile of other crap. I didn't know. But now that I've discovered these things, and now that I have learned these things, and now that I have seen these things, I cannot unsee them. I cannot unlearn this stuff, right? But like, this is their response, and this is what they're going to be telling their children too. Like, I have nieces and nephews who I love very much, and like my brothers and sisters and cousins are probably telling them that I'm totally insane and not to believe anything that I say. Why? Because they're doing some horrible, horrible, rotten stuff, I believe. But I don't want to focus on that. I don't even want to talk about that stuff. I just want to acknowledge it and move on, because there is no court of law. There is no police department. There is no three-letter agency that is ever going to be able to tackle this stuff at all. The only way to approach these issues are going to be individually, like one case, one situation at a time, one conversation at a time. And I'm sure eventually at some point there will be some kind of tipping point or whatever. But like, you know, I'm advocating for peace throughout the whole process. But like, I can't speak for like anybody in the Ocala National Forest, you know what I mean? Anyways, somebody said some people will never look to see. This is very true, very true. The people that I'm speaking about, though, just to be clear, are not those people. The people that I'm speaking about are the elders who I all know, who are professors at the University of Florida. And the people I'm speaking about are my ex-girlfriends who have my children who they did not tell me about. You know, and I'm talking about my children, talking to them, you know what I mean, about all this stuff. That's my disclosure. That's where I'm at. Because I got to the point where I was getting ready to just go haywire on this USO underwater ship stuff and like the holes and stuff like that underneath the churches. I was about ready to go bonkers, like just go down like heavy, posting stuff on the internet, alternate accounts, the whole 9 yards, until, and you know, maybe spend a month on it if I needed to. Like I was literally saving up, you know, so I could get like maybe 5-10 grand and then do nothing but just dox these people, you know, live, like go to these places because it works. You know what I'm saying? But like, then I discovered that I have all these children and everything changed. Everything changed from like aggression and get back and anger driven sort of, you know, whatever, to like, oh my goodness, this is what they're so scared of me finding, you know, amongst other things. So like the interesting thing is that anybody can make themselves TikTok famous right now off the information that I can give them. I mean, really. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and bounce. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna chat a little bit on Twitch, and that's it. But yeah, thank you for watching my show. I'm working a new campaign right now. I don't really want to say anything other than that about it. All right, it's just it's work, and I'm working. I'll just put it to you like that. You know, I am working right now, and I'm happy with the job that I'm doing, and I'm in a place to where when these people harass and bother me when I'm working, which they do, they're not like coming to find me to harass me. It's that I'm working in an area that they are surveilling or whatever, and then they're like, oh well, here's this guy, let's harass. But it's not working. Okay, it's not working like it used to. I'll just put it to you like that. It's not working like it used to. All right, YouTube, I'm gonna bounce.